Child on the live, but get them now. Hi, everybody. Say hi to the internet.
Hi.
Right here. Say hi over here.
Hi.
Where are you?
I don't want to get in trouble. I'm in charge of making sure everybody's
You ready?
there.
Should we talk about the book?
Uh-huh.
Can I sit in that chair?
No.
No? Okay, I'll sit in this chair then. I'll sit in this chair. Well, that doesn't work, so let me sit on the other side of this chair.
Oh, yeah.
There's a leaf knocking on that backpack one of the deadbolts was on.
Give me your don't eat on. Can you open it for me? Can you lock it again?
Yeah.
It's the green one. Thanks. Okay. Shall we? Let's do it. Hi, internet.
Not there,
No.
Victoria.
Victoria, go to the side.
I'm gonna sit on this one. But we could get another chair for you, I think. I don't know where.
There's a chair.
You're good.
Is it right there?
That one's gonna knock
Sit
over.
right there. Sit right there, sweetie.
I know, you gotta come over here.
Stand next to your friend.
Here we go, look at it. Look, Phil's got one for you.
Where do you want it?
Put it over here by her friends, yeah.
Hey, Victoria, I'm going to put it where you're at right now.
Can someone give me one of the little white marble tables? I need a spot for my tequila, is really the issue. That's really the issue. Okay. Ooh. I'm sorry. Child abuse caught on camera. Thank you all for coming. I don't know how to do this. I hope other people do this all the time, but when you have to do it for yourself, you're like, well, this is awkward. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for tuning in on YouTube, and thank you all, everyone everywhere, for making Make a Scene #1 best-selling book internationally this week. What do you think?
My dad made a book.
Yeah. So this week I've been asked a bunch on podcasts or live streams, like, what is the message of the book, and what is the idea that you should do? Why did you write this book? What?
Look it. Look at one too.
She has one. Everyone has one. She's seeing people with the book, and she's very excited. Whose book is that? Who wrote the book?
Papa.
Papa wrote it, yeah. And so people are asking on these shows and podcasts and media, what is the message of the book? What do you hope the book does in the world? And the first time I was asked, I was like, you should probably know the answer to that kind of thing. You should probably do that. And I thought a lot about it, and the answer is this. In the beginning of the book, there's a dedication. And the dedication says, for Viviana. I'm going to try to get through this. I hope you remember to roar when the world says stay quiet. When the world says to be small, you go big. When the world says simmer down, you make a scene. Your voice will always be my favorite. Your story's at the top of my list, and she has a lot of stories to tell. And your fullest self-expression, the greatest salve in a world gone mad. Never shrink because someone else is intimidated by your power. Papi loves you, chica. And so when I thought about what I hope the book does for everybody, I think for all of us who've ever been told, you're too much. Say hi to your dad, Ziggy. Yeah. It's a Papi-daughter moment, okay? We gotta say hi to all the dads. In all the places where we've been told, like, to play small, or you're too much, you're not enough, be more, be less, be quiet, be louder, don't move that way, real men don't do that, little girls don't do this. I think for all of us who've always been told that, as I wrote that to Viviana, but I think it's really what I hope the book does for everybody, is to say, especially in whatever side of the world you're on right now, and how you're feeling about anything, like, this is the moment where we have to step up and make a scene, and we have to say something. So when I thought about what the book was, it was that. And people would ask me, like, why do we need a book like this, at this point? They're making a scene. They always say in Hollywood, never work with children or pets. Not because they're, like, unruly, but because they're just so good at demanding attention, because they're pure and they're truthful, and we spend so much of our time. You're done? You want to go? Okay, bye. Bye. See you. Okay. I'll move here now. There we go. Let me move the camera. Yeah. So they actually, like, when they work with pets on film, you think, like, oh, they teach the dog who plays Benji and Annie how to how to be sad, how to be happy, how to be whatever. But the reality is they use 2 or 3 different dogs because they have to use a dog that has the right temperament. So when they need the dog to be playful and jumpy, they need a dog that is playful and jumpy. When they need a dog that's like sleepy, they have a dog that's sleepy. So they actually, like if you watch Annie on Broadway, one of my good friends, Stacy Brass Russell, was one of the original Annies on Broadway, or has been an Annie on Broadway, amongst many things. And she could attest that when they have a pet, they have to just like swap it out for however they want the dog to be, because dogs don't actually know how to act. They just are how they are, and they could teach them to run or look or do something. And kids the same. So that's about as interested in the book as she is. When I thought about like why does a book like this have to exist, I wrote about that in the introduction, and I said, it's Thursday night in New Orleans. I'm nervously finishing the last bites of dinner at a hotel bar, thinking about the keynote I'm supposed to give in the morning. And if you've ever had to give a keynote or a presentation, go to a work meeting, stand up in front of the classroom, I think you're going to relate to this. I push my plate away, I pay the check, and I head up to my room, except instead of heading to my room, I head out to the street to get mugged. At least I hope that's what would happen. Hi, I'm Mike Ganino, and if you've ever felt like your stomach or your brain were fighting a very uncivil war before a speech or presentation, one was saying it was going to vacate the premises as soon as the other confirmed it was right, that everyone in the entire ballroom, entire boardroom, or entire classroom is going to stand up in unison, walk out of your talk, and then you probably know how I was feeling that night. I was due to give my 5th paid speech on Friday morning. The event featured big names like Simon Sinek and Brené Brown, and before that wickedly impresses you, please know that I was on a much smaller stage, in a much smaller room, with a much smaller font listing my name in the program. So of course, I thought the perfect Thursday night plan was to wander the streets of the French Quarter with my wallet hanging half out of my back pocket so I could get mugged. You know, mugged just enough to skip my speech without being seriously harmed. Why? Because despite years of experience as a performer, a corporate trainer, a sommelier, I felt like a fraud. I was following all the expert advice, but something was missing. I had done these 5 paid gigs, a ton of free ones at this point, hundreds of workshops as a former corporate trainer, and been on handfuls of podcasts. Despite that, I was presenting a version of myself, but it wasn't me. It wasn't the vibrant, electric version that people told me they loved off stage. It was the presenter. You know, the one that you invite to special rooms and special places and say, show up and impress everybody. Trying to be right, trying to be unbothered, trying to be not concerned by the guy in the 4th row with the resting bro face. This disconnect, the gap between who we are and who we think we should be when we communicate, is at the heart of what I do now as a speaking coach and keynote director to some of the world's coolest brands, biggest speakers, and most loved authors. As we'll discuss later in chapter 3, this gap is often thinly veiled as imposter phenomena. The ideas in this book will help give you the hook. That's a stage reference to someone being pulled off the stage by a hook. Get used to stage references and dad jokes. There's going to be a lot of them around here. So when I think about like the goal of this book was not that it was just for people who were keynote speakers and were out in big stages, but really for all of us who ever have to show up in front of other people and say something that makes them take action or makes them care or makes them want to do something. And so I thought, why not, right at the top of the book, rip the Band-Aid off and say that once upon a time, I was praying I would get mugged on a street in New Orleans when I was there. I wrote, over the course of the 2 years, I wrote 3 versions of this book. On a cruise ship, in Paris, in London, in New York, often in like very cramped little hotels. It wasn't like some sexy like chateau. It was like in a room with a laptop on my lap, like exhausted and probably like a little feeling good from wine. It was Paris. What are you gonna do? And I threw away the first version because it went way too far down this train of like, we've all been victimized. Let's hold hands and be concerned about how people treated us. But it didn't do enough to help people figure out what to do with that. So it was like, let's hold hands and cry. I had plenty of wine in Paris to help with that, but it didn't go anywhere. And so then I wrote a second version of the book, and that one went way too far to overcorrect, like we do, where it was like, here is exactly what you must do. Here's all the tips and tactics and things, and it had like no soul to it, but it was a great textbook of like what to do to be a great communicator. And then the third version was really fun. And it was the one that I was finished right before Paris. And it was the one that had so many celebrity references. Every chapter was like how to have stage presence and power like J-Lo. Other chapters had other people. And then I kept seeing the news. And I kept seeing names associated with what's going to happen with like Sean Combs, what's going to happen with Puff Daddy, who's involved. And I thought, I can't be a person who writes a book that then celebrates someone who may be like put away for life for some horrible thing. And the list was getting scary long. So I threw that version of the book away too. And the fourth version of the book is the version that we finally have here. And this one I wanted to have a blend of ideas to help, like all of that tactical, like here's stuff to do. And from people reading it already this week, they're like, I've got notes highlighted. Someone messaged me last night, was like, I ordered a second copy because the first copy has so many notes in it. Not that order as many copies as you want, please. And then write a review, because reviews are important. But I thought a lot about whether to include a lot of like my journey. And I had this story about E.T., Extraterrestrial, the movie. And I was like, I don't know. One person said, don't put it in. One person said, yes, put it in. That's how it goes with feedback often, right? It's like, I don't know what to do. I guess I have to trust myself. And I was on a plane coming back. I was on a plane going to London on the trip I went to London and Paris. And I was in the, you know when you're going through customs, like the walkway is really long. And I was texting with my friend Aaron King and Phil about like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't include this ET story. Maybe I should just cut to the chase. Something I'm not good at always. And it's 2024. And an adult woman had a stuffed animal backpack. Guess who it was? E.T. E.T. And I said, that's the sign. So I included this story. It's one of those rare moments where we can afford cable TV. My single-parent mom is working, and I pretend to be sick so I can stay home from school, a status I master in the years to come as the physical and emotional bullying continues to escalate. Long before the days of choosing what we want to watch from the entirety of the world's content, I have to settle on letting the TV tell me what I'm going to watch within a 32-channel range. Maury Povich is revealing secret dads. Oprah is not yet giving out cars, but addressing the deep narratives of mid-American homemakers. On El Show de Cristina, the eponymous host is giving her double thumbs up and dropping her classic show-rapping quote, para adelante, pa' atrás, ni pa' coger impulso. Forward, forward, don't step back, not even to gain momentum, basically to get a running start. Cartoons, an evangelist healing people in a tent. I spin through the channels. I see people talk about divorce, broken homes, and poverty. None of this is new territory for me. A kid sitting in front of the TV watching people fight is not of interest anymore. I've seen that enough. I'm a 10-year-old kid skipping school because the other boys ask him if he's a girl. The teachers give him looks of support that are mostly loosely wrapped pity and barely veiled vicarious embarrassment. And he still feels scared and lost because of a parent's loud and messy divorce. I'm the only boy in the world going through this. The clunky thick rubber button of the remote makes a squishy sound as I click. And then I see him, and I smile, and I say to no one, it's been a long time. It's the end of Act 1, and Elliot and E.T. have just seen each other for the first time before E.T. runs back into the forest. We already know that Elliot's parents are newly divorced, that he hangs out with his older brother because he doesn't have his own friends, and that his room is messy and not that of a mature person. While this hits home better than any episode of I'm cheating on you with my sister, who is also secretly my aunt, I toss the remote onto the blanket in my lap. If you'd asked me that day why I liked E.T. so much, I would have told you it was because it was one of the first movies I ever saw in a theater. Apparently, the real first movie I ever saw was 1983's Flashdance, which explains a lot about a toddler's first choice and my mother and I in our relationship. Love you, Mom. Even now, I could explain it away with Spielberg's directorial choices, the screenplay's clever devices and dialogue, or the curio cabinet of awards it received, 4 Oscars, 4 Grammys, and a massive stack of others. I could even share how it broke Star Wars' record for the highest grossing film and held it for 11 years until Spielberg broke it with Jurassic Park in '93. And that would be a lie. It was my favorite movie because it made me feel like I was being seen. It helped me feel less alone in a world that was very alone. In both E.T., an alien kid left behind, and Elliot, a human kid who felt left behind, I saw something that looked like me. My feelings, my fears, my frustrations took form in someone else's story. It was validating, as if somebody had said, oh hey, it's cool to feel how you feel, but also, hey, you're gonna be okay, kid, at a time when no one in my life was actually saying, you're gonna be okay, kid. If I were a betting man, I guess you've started thinking about movies of your childhood. Some stories provide a fun escape from reality, though rarely last very long. and others give shape, meaning, and significance to the vast ocean swirling in our guts. That's the power of storytelling. Our mission is to tell our stories, big and small, as often as possible. Not only do we feel less alone when we share them, but we offer that same feeling to other people. And so that little ET story I almost didn't include. And then Phil and Aaron said include it. And then some lady on her way to London Heathrow with her ET stuffed animal backpack gave me the sign from whatever you believe in. God, Buddha, Cuervo. It was the sign. Thank you. I needed the laugh. I included it at the beginning of all the chapters, and I had to be really careful because I just said what I said about the celebrity moments of like being scared of like who's gonna get canceled next, and I'm now like supporting someone who's done horrible things to people. But this person felt very safe. The beginning of every chapter has a quote from a celebrity that kind of shapes that one. And so this one is at the beginning of the chapter about storytelling and how we can put our words together in ways that actually connect with people. And it says, your experience is your only real currency. The only thing you can really bring to the table that's going to make you different from anyone else is what you've lived through and what you've learned from it. For Miss Taylor Allison Swift herself. She felt safe. Please, Taylor. There's a candle somewhere in here, there's a saint candle, you know, someone sent me, my friend Emmer Lillerstrom sent me a saint candle, it's Taylor. Saint Taylor, please don't do us wrong. But there's quotes from Rita Moreno, from Bell Hooks, from Lucille Ball. The one from Lucille Ball is something about, I didn't tag it, so I don't know where it is, about that she doesn't believe in luck, that it's not luck at all, that it's about showing up and being brave enough to do a thing and not shrinking away. And I'm almost done. What's this one? Oh, the beginning of the book, one of the people on this podcast asked me, the book starts out very unhinged, if you've started reading it yet. The introduction is not like a nice, hey friends, let's talk about this. It literally says, I know we just met, but if we're gonna help you shine in your biggest moments, then we need to get comfortable with each other and fast. I challenge you to do something now that might feel uncomfortable. Don't worry, discomfort is where growth grows. Or I saw that once on a social media post. And I'll be right here with you. The challenge is take out your phone, open the camera app, set it on video mode, prop it up next to you, hit record, and spend the next 60 seconds introducing yourself. So you record that video, and then I have people do it again at the end. But that's literally the unhinged way that I started this book, because I thought, if we're gonna do the thing, then let's do the thing. And then it comes back to that at the end to do it again, and to see what process have you gone through. And then the closing of the book, before I attempt to read the acknowledgments, which will be, we'll see, I'll get through. The closing of the book says this: the stage is set, the spotlight is ready, your audience is waiting. Step up, speak out, and make your scene. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. Don't shy away from the high notes, embrace them. And if you miss, let your audience sing with you. You have within you stories that can inspire. They probably expire too if you don't use that, okay? If you don't use the stories, they expire, so use them to inspire. Save the day, improv. Yeah. Thank you, Second City. You have within you stories that can inspire, ideas that can transform, and a voice that deserves to be heard. Don't let them remain untold. Don't let your potential for impact go unrealized. Go forth and make some noise. Be bold, be authentic, be you. Let it go, let it show, let the world know the real you. Your symphony awaits, now go make a scene. And the ending quote is, that's all, Miranda Priestley, Devil Wears Prada. The chapter before that, the Let It Go, was a callback because the entire chapter is about Idina Menzel. Idina, Saint Idina, please do not get canceled. It was all about her when she went on, she went to do the Academy Awards, and of course was introduced by John Travolta as Adele Dazeem, and seconds later had to sing in front of every famous actor in the world. Let It Go, a song that is one of the most difficult songs to do performance-wise. She then went to the Rockin' Eve, the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve, and she had to sing Let It Go at one of the coldest nights on 2015 New Year's Eve outside in New York City. And I don't know if you know what happens to your vocal cords when it's freezing cold and midnight, by the way. They don't work. And so she did not hit the notes on national TV. And she said afterwards, sometimes you don't hit the notes, and in my lifetime, there's going to be a lot of notes, and I'm going to worry about the ones I hit. And so I told that story in the book, and then so the ending was that. So now the acknowledgments, as we wrap up here, this portion, and then you can go back to your wine and your beverages. All of the chapters have kind of unhinged subtitles too. So this one is called Take a Bow. formerly known as the acknowledgments, or the part where I thank all the people who kept me from joining an ashram as I wrote this book. An ashram is like where you go to like become a yogi, I think. I read about it in Eat, Pray, Love. She went to an ashram, and she had to sit on like a little mat. Thank you, Elizabeth Gilbert. I say that like she's my close personal friend. We're both best-selling authors now. This is going to feel dramatic, but if you've made it this far with me, you'll know that's not exactly out of character. Taylor Swift once sang, please Taylor, don't do something wrong. She's here again. Taylor Swift once sang about this godforsaken mess that you've made me, and writing this book felt exactly like that, except I made the mess all by myself. The last 2 years have been a masterclass in creative destruction. I wrote 2 completely different versions of this book. You know now that it's actually 3. A screenplay, a novel, but this one required me to break down completely before I could rebuild. They say making art requires giving away pieces of yourself, but they don't tell you how many people you need in your corner to stay whole. In this production of How to Write a Book While Simultaneously Having an Existential Crisis, the cast has been nothing short of extraordinary. In the role of the anchor, Phil Fox. You don't get the shiny version of me that excites audiences on stage, or the nurturing version that holds space for clients, or even the version that remembers how to listen more than he talks. You get the raw footage, the dress rehearsals, the 3 a.m. rewrites, and lately, the chaotic whirlwind of a husband whose business decided to explode in huge, great ways right as he was trying to finish a book. You've stood with me against all kinds of storms, seawater, sand, wintry ice, and kept walking. Just like you did that first snowy Chicago night 20 years ago when we were just 2 boys braving a blizzard, not knowing we were starting our own epic story. Through my endless pivots, rewrites, and reinventions, you've been both a catalyst and a shelter, pushing me to grow while providing a safe harbor for my storm. Even when I've been a hurricane of missed dinners, late-night typing, and emotional plot twists during the wild 2024 glow-up, you've remained steadfast, a North Star in the chaos. The depth of my gratitude to you is infinite, not just for being my partner in this beautiful mess, but for being an extraordinary father to Vivi. You make both of us better, and somehow you've managed to love both the person you met in that blizzard and all the versions I've become since. Here's to 20 years of first dates and the scenes yet to come. And 20 years this next week. 20 years ago, our first date, next week. Thank you. He was taking care of children right now, so that's how it goes. Speaking of scene stealers, Viviana Fox, my little Leo superstar, already outshining me at 4, as you saw at the beginning of this. This book's for you, Chica. I promise to keep up and be the best stage poppy that's ever stage poppy to whatever scenes you decide to make. No one has positively altered my life like you have since you first arrived on set. I love you. And a good scene requires 2 brilliant stars. Ziggy Jane, you shine in every room you walk into. And I'm so thankful you're Viviana's first best friend. I'm enjoying my front row seat to your childhood, and I can't wait to see what you create next. Your laugh is one of my favorites. And in your eyes, entire galaxies seem to be born every day. I love you. I can't do this.
You're doing great.
Did Elizabeth disappear? It's her turn.
She's here.
In the role of the truth teller, I made all these people not read these also, so they don't know what I said. In the role of the truth teller supreme, Elizabeth Cortez, you've been stage managing behind the scenes drama of my life with a Tony-worthy combination of brutal honesty and boundless love. When I needed a reality check, you delivered your lines with perfect timing. I will never forget when you called me an ice queen. That was particularly memorable. I love you. Thank you. You've played every supporting role imaginable: counselor, confidant, cheerleader, and chief chaos coordinator. While our daughters wrote their own friendship subplot that brought us even closer, we wrote our own. Your ability to simultaneously call me on my nonsense and build me back up has made you one of the most valuable players in this production. You're the one person who can tell me I'm being absolutely awful and have me thanking you for it 5 minutes later. I love you so much. In the role of the boss, Laura Gassner-Otting, you've run the show like a perfectly orchestrated production, always producing from the wings when needed, always commanding the right scene. Showing up is what she does. But it's more than that. You've mentored me while holding me accountable, then cut through the red tape of my self-doubt until I saw my own stage potential. You've shown me both my authority and my blind spots, pushed me to level up while providing backup when I stumble. Having you in my corner feels like having a secret weapon in the theater of life, and I'm eternally grateful for your powerful, unwavering friendship. You've made this book significantly more impactful than I could have made it without you. Thank you. I love you, Laura. She was the one who, when I sent the last version, said, "Can I call you?" And when I got the "Can I call you?" I was like, no, this is like we need to talk. This is like we need to talk. She got that call from someone in the past and told me about it, and I thought, oh no. Laura was also the editor of my first book, Company Culture for Dummies. She was the full editor of that, which she got paid like 2 lattes for. But thank you, Laura. Playing the Daylight, Marisa Corcoran. My heart is brighter for having you in it. You've been a lifeline these past 2 years, creating a space where my unhealed places could breathe and grow. I'd make a Taylor Swift pun here, but I know all too well that you're probably shaking it off right now. Those were two Taylors in one thing. You've helped me step out of the woods, another Taylor reference, and into the daylight, another one. And I'm forever grateful for the way you've been there through my darkest nights to help me find my way back to the sun. The Afterglow reference is a total vibe. Thank you, Marisa. In the role of Book Whisperer, Deanne Adams, you've been a therapist moonlighting as a developmental editor, and you somehow mastered both crafts simultaneously. Your tenderness and wisdom, even if you tell everyone that you don't have those things, has helped shape this book, but the writer I've become in the process as well. Thank you for hearing what I was trying to say, even when I couldn't find the right words. Playing the confidence fairy godfather, Sam Ruhmkorff, you fished me out of the send to archive button and convinced me to double down on my voice. Your belief in this book, when I'd lost my own, helped bring it back to life. Sometimes the best editing isn't about changing the words, it's about changing minds. When I was doing the interior of the book, I wanted to have illustrations. And there's a company called Zingerman's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they always have gorgeous illustrations. And so I wanted them to have like these beautiful pieces. You want to sit here? You want to come sit? You could sit. You just want to look in the mirror? Okay. I get it. She's also a Leo, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. These Leos love a mirror. Marisa, I'm looking at you. So I did all these illustrations with him. And when we got the cover back, it looked very much like a normal book, like a public speaking book, like a good, this is a business book. And I was like, I don't love it. Can we try something else? And they tried. I was like, it still looks the same, but like with color now. So no. And I sketched something out and I was like, can you do anything like this? And they were like, we can't really do that. And so I reached out to Ryan, who did the interior illustrations. And I said, Ryan, can you do the cover? And he did this. I mean, like, nailed it, got it. It's got, you know, this kind of Egyptian theater vibe, but also like, you know, we're doing a little woo here, a little third eye, reading what you are. And he really nailed not only the interior, but the outside. And when you go and you type into Amazon public speaking books, and this one is there with a sea of like brown beige bros who wrote books, even if they used a pizzazzy font, this one stands out because, because of Ryan's work. So in the role of visual storyteller, Ryan Steiner, your illustrations bring a playful sophistication to these pages that I've admired for 20 years since I saw your work at Zingerman's. Thank you for saying yes to this project on a very brutal deadline. I told him he had 8 weeks, and then he ended up only having 3. And he did it, like 20-something designs and the cover, and helped me bring these ideas to life. Playing the energy maven, Erin King, from haunted Airbnbs to yacht club shenanigans, you've listened to me whine, W-I-N-E, about everything, and you just keep filling my glass. Our friendship has aged like a fine wine, and I'm grateful, with a P, for every moment. Your spirit is vintage, but your energy never ages. Here's to many more years of popping ideas and corks together, my favorite whining partner. I'm almost done. There are a lot of you, though. Playing the sparkle strategist, Neen James, you've been my effervescent Aussie friend, turning business dreams into standing ovations with your signature fizz. Like any great producer, you've known when to push and when to pop the champagne. Being your keynote director is premier, champagne joke, premier, but being your friend is grand cru, also champagne joke. Cheers, mate. And to my family, Mom, Dan, Granny, the OG scene maker, the very first quote in the book from a celebrity is from my grandmother. It says, say the truest thing you can say. That's the first quote. Jennifer Ganino, my very first scene partner, my sister. Levi and Serenity and Stephanie Ganino. Chloe DeVita, Alice Gramada, Brandon, or Cousin Berger, as Vivi calls him. Mia Fox, Devin Cortez, Mary Gorman Solins, Katie Solins, Lorette and Skip Farmer. To the professional village who were involved in this, Carol Wright, publishing fairy godmother, project manager extraordinaire, Danny Wallace, who pushed me to finally write this, Elizabeth Goddard, who reimagined my life and business with me, Jessica Abo, my long-lost twin, Dusty Arab, my theater sister, Jessica Manuzak, my favorite pickle, Hillary Weiss Presswood, my Taurian queen, Matthew Kimberly, just for being a great stud, and to all my dear clients, the Speakers Guild members, Tiffany Lanier, Melanie Weller, Jacquette M. Timmons, Kim Tatori, Mandy Irby, Dana V. Adams, to all my private clients, to the Mic Drop Method clients, to the Mic Drop Era Retreat 2025, early buyer ticket holders, Abby Golhar, Barbara, selling a book is hard, y'all. Abby Golhar, Barbara Shrehans, Erin Lindstrom, Jocelyn Manzanares, Kristen Day, Chelsea Hussam, Susan Drum, Carla Johnson, Lindsay Kazuba, Lisa Robin Young, Laura Yeager, and Adrian Jamal. Take a bow. You have all earned it. Thank you all so much for making this book so fair. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what to do now, so go get a cocktail. Thank you. Oh, we'll sign books. We'll sign books. Bye, you all. Thank you. I love you.